Hello and welcome back to the Vtcc Virtual Touring Car Championship. This is round 8, the final here at Donnington. The championship only separated by 1 point between the two Celtic Bromance drivers, being JP McKinley and Kiki Mack. Tonight, I think their team spirit and teamwork will be out the window. Both of them are drivers, both of them are racers at the end of the day. I think both of them are hungry for the championship. So I'm sure if they get close to each other on the grid, we're going to see some very entertaining battles from just those two drivers alone. The rest of the championship has been shaping up pretty much on the average keel. In third place being Chris Callaghan, followed by Andrew Whitehead, Finley Swarbrick, Matt Webb, Carl Alden, Alice Hughes, McRae William and Adam Bent. The points are looking quite close between, especially that P7 spot, P6 and P7 getting quite close as well. Then we start jumping into about the 10-point gaps ever so slowly as we reach up to P5 and P4. So it's all to play for, really. There are more drivers down on the championship standings. I only have the 1 to 10, which is something. Again, here are the cars that we're going to be spotting. Keep your eyes very much open for JP McKinley and Kiki Mack, two Celtic Bromance Renault Megans. Also keep your eyes open for Chris Callaghan as well. He's been racing quite solidly throughout the entire season. There are quite a few drivers to mention, but we need to power through and get onto the track and get onto the racing. If you are curious of seeing who has streams of tonight's race, if they will be up or not, we have Finley Swarbrick, Kev Straw, Kiki Mack from the AM lobby, and Aaron Large from the Pro lobby. The way that the series works is we have 3 times 15-minute events per race. A qualifying to begin with, followed by a qualifying grid race, followed by a random grid race, followed by another 15-minute qualifying, and then the final race of the night. As normal, I will be bringing in the top 3 drivers from each race for an interview as well. We'll be bringing in the top 3 from the championship. A very ecstatic Celtic Bromance driver at the end of the night there is going to be. So we have gone down to the track. Let us head to the track. Already going out, we're watching on with JP McKinley around Donnington. This is one of the drivers battling very heavily for the championship victory tonight. And Chris Callaghan being, I think, 33 or 34 points behind. I'm not 100% sure he's in for a win at the championship. Might not even be in for a pop at second place. Just due to the way that the two Celtic Bromance drivers, if they are together, push each other faster and faster around the circuit. This is a long version of Donnington as well, with the hairpin. Second to last corner instead of a chicane. Double hairpin, really. Might be a good overtaking opportunity for drivers, depending on how people defend into both of them. It's a good opportunity to dive down the inside. One thing we were told in the briefing is that be very careful for track limits. Apparently on this track limits are very deadly, as you see JP McKinley getting the back out of that Renault Megane quite hard. 15 cars on the grid this evening. We might get some more qualifying goes on. We're going to ride on board with JP McKinley around this rest of the lap at Donnington. I think it was from the Pro lobby today. One of the drivers doing his practices actually managed to set a new world record around Donnington. Which, you know, for a game like Project Cars 2, it's got on quite heavily through its lifetime. It's pretty much at the end of its life now. There are a few communities bombing around that keep it alive, but development side, there's not really much that comes to the game. To come in and beat a world record on a game this age, you know, there is something very honourable about that. You can see the last hairpin, people going very wide. Some of these cars are front wheel drive, and it seems that going wide is the better thing for them. But yeah, we are here at the final event, the final race. 45 minutes of racing to go. 20 minutes of qualifying. So, just going back to the championship standings, Chris Callahan, 33 points behind Kiki Mack. Going to be a very interesting race. You then have Andrew Whitehead, who's .30 points behind Chris Callahan. So the gaps around the top three are quite strong. As we've got our qualifying lap times in, it is a Celtic Romance 1-2 at this current moment in time. JP McKinley going first for a 1:36.5. Kiki Mack coming through in second for a 1:36.8. Chris Callahan coming through in third for a 1:37.4. So the top three on the championship are currently provisional top three on the track. As Kiki Mack goes faster, and then JP McKinley trades with him. Now down to a 1:35.8 and a 1:35.2. Both drivers, I'm sure here, both of the Celtic Romance drivers will probably be moving up to the Pro Division. They've driven solidly this entire season, you know, dominant team out on the track here. One or two sort of issues around the season as well. Keep in mind that at Brands Hatch, JP McKinley didn't have a great day with technology, which in reality has helped pave the way for this 1 point gap between two teammates for the final race. Looking down the grid, Colin Dunn has taken Chris Callahan, and so has Trev Hummer. Is that Trev Hummer? Yes, so has Trev Hummer. Currently running in P4. I think that's the highest I've seen him so far in the qualifying. In the number 6 BMW. A driver that I don't often get to talk about, because sometimes he's in the battle, and it seems that the luck has been whenever Trev Hummer is in a battle, there's another one going on, and I don't notice it. Who knows? Let's see, maybe he's picked up some pace today around Donnington. Maybe he's gelled with a track. Maybe he's gelled with a BMW. We might see some fighting action from Trev Hummer. Chris Callahan, now currently P3 in the championship, number 49 machine. 46, 49. 49 machine. The yellow and black machine. My phone has just crashed. That's very interesting. Yeah, the top two still hasn't changed. Still the two Celtic Romance cars, one of them in frame behind Chris Callahan. It's number 7 machine, which is JP McKinley. You can even see on the race feed that a lot of lap times are being invalidated. Currently 6 minutes and about 12 seconds remaining. Alex Hughes getting quite a few track invalidated, maybe running off of the circuit. You can see using as much of the pit lane as possible while it's empty to gain a wider angle into the corner. We might see quite a few penalties tonight, as we typically do with some circuits. Sugo wasn't really a very penalty heavy circuit. We have seen one or two where the track limits have been quite evil, but it's just a job as a driver to power through it, either take 1 or 2 penalties, maybe a second, maybe 2, 3 seconds, power through it to see if it will help, or try your hardest to keep it in the lines. I'm expecting the Celtic Bromance drivers to possibly pick up quite a few. So we'll see. And Amb in the chat, gutted not being able to race. Yep, final race of the season. Very much one that I think is going to generate some quite good racing. Here's Finley Swarbrick, still under the name of Doodle. Yeah, the Pulse vehicle. The Pulse SimSport vehicle, number 95. Currently running P4. P5. Because Andrew Whitehead in the background gets very loose around the final hairpin. Oh. Just a note for anyone watching the stream, I might not be 100% alert as I normally am. I'm currently running, been awake for about 26 hours now because I've been really busy, so if I become illegible or fall asleep, then you know how it goes. Also, hello Mad Bad, we're currently in qualifying with 3.5 minutes remaining. So not too long till we'll be in with the racing. We're being told tonight as well that we're having longer breaks between races due to it being the final, which is very, very useful. Now that's Chris Callahan that's gone up into P4. Still behind Trev Hummer, who's in P3. No disrespect to the driver. Normally I see him in the mid-pack. Not really expected to see him up here this evening, but he is up here, and it's obviously very nice to see when a driver does improve, starts high up on the grid and shows, you know, what they can do if the track and the cars do gel. As he now comes across the line, along with Tobias Eriksson. Doesn't improve yet. Trevor's on the controller. Yeah, gamepad drivers are... Yeah, there's something that happens up there that I've never been able to understand. Like, I've tried to drive on a gamepad and I just couldn't work my head around it. So I bought a DFGT. Basically. That's how life went. Bought a DFGT, boys. as the gap up front between Kiki Mack and JP McKinley is 0.018. Chris Callahan, is lap time validated, question mark? Not sure, or it was just close to them. One or the other. There's drivers now will be starting, I think, their final flying lap as they come across the line. We'll have a look at the track map up in the corner. Yeah, a few drivers will be starting their final lap now. Drivers who are just coming into the final chicane will make it. Drivers further back, I'm not sure. So those two drivers coming up to the final chicane will have to get a wiggle on, or they might not actually make a final flying lap. Who are they? Matt Webb is going to make it. Yeah, it looks like they're actually going to make it. So I estimated a bit wrong. And Kev Straw as well might make it as he comes round the second to last hairpin. Yeah, we'll make it. So everyone gets one more flying lap. Around the final hairpin. U-turn, whatever you want to call it. Across the line, does Kev Straw improve? He does, going 13th. And Craig Williams now up to P3 as well. If we recall back to Sugo, he didn't have the best of races. Especially in race 1. Had a battle with JP McKinley. In, I think, race 2, but not everything was going right for McRae Williams at Sugo. Let's see if he can improve his lap time or his results today. Does not improve, stays provisional P3. Goes into P4 because Chris Callahan knocks him out of the position. Is anyone going to knock out Chris Callahan? It's Trev Hummer down in P7. Goes wide and aborts the lap. Andrew Whitehead coming around the final corners. Andrew Whitehead has gone P4. One left to complete a lap. Kev Straw drifting that final corner. Currently P14. Comes across the line. Is he going to improve? I think he did. I think he went P13. So here is the lineup. Kiki Mack will start in first, followed by his teammate JP McKinley and championship rival Chris Callahan starts in third place. So the top three are the top three as they sit in the championship. Andrew Whitehead comes along as well. That means that the top four are the top four in the championship. McRae Williams comes through in 5th. Colin Dunn 6th. Alice Hughes 7th. Trev Hummer 8th. Finley Swarbrick 9th. Matt Webb 10th. Carl Alden 11th. Byron Zimmerman 12th. Kev Straw 13th. 14th is Tobias Eriksson. And 15th is Mortimer. That will be the lineup for race 1 as we very much jump onto the grid. Here, I'm going to try and see where we get the best angle here. There we go. Car 5 for Craig Williams. Give us a great angle of the grid. As race 1 will be underway shortly. For this, round 8, the final. as we get the sound and the sinking. And we're away. The launch is up the front. The BMW's accelerating off as they normally do. Rear wheel drive, I believe those cars are, which gives them quite a good launch as through the first corner we go. JP McKinley's dropped down to P3. Trev Hummer around the outside of McRae Williams as we seem to slot back. There's 2x2 going into the downhill section, quite a few. The BMW steaming away from that Renault, opening McRae Williams up to Colin Dunn behind as well. As we see Alice Hughes in the background trying to make moves on Colin Dunn. Going to be forced around the outside if they want to make that move. Doesn't as yet. As we're running on board now with Matt Webb. Running down the chicane, then I'm going to try and make a move into it. That's the question. Finley Swarbrick attempts. Matt Webb goes very wide, tags Andrew Whitehead. Both drivers going off the track. Andrew Whitehead just collected as a victim in that collision. Already drivers have amassed penalties. Alice Hughes the second, Tobias Eriksson the second. I'm going to maybe think that Andrew Whitehead and Matt Webb might get some repercussion for that, as it is considered an off-track. JP McKinley is now attacking Chris Callahan. P2 on P3 in the championship. And he slots past as they go into the downhill section. Yes, he does. I don't think Chris Callahan is going to let up. 3-car, 4-car, almost a 4-car engagement going into the downhill section. Kiki Mack currently in the lead by 2 seconds. That is something that he's going to do. Colin Dunn going round, tags Alice Hughes. Has to take an excursion off track. Thankfully doesn't collect anyone on the exit and keeps the car planted and not spinning. He's also slowing down by the look of things to let drivers past. Goes that off track to remove his advantage. Yes, he does. It looked like the rear tyre of that car. Kev Straw goes round. Andrew Whitehead round as well. That's a second. 2 laps, 2 collisions for Andrew Whitehead on the last chicane. Kev Straw off in the sand as well. He does restart the vehicle and gets it going. And Colin Dunn still on the back of Alice Hughes. We can see a lot of cars here from the roof camera of Colin Dunn's vehicle. Brake lights smacking on for different drivers. Some drivers tapping a little bit more through. A cone gets ejected into orbit. Now Alice Hughes getting the back out. Colin Dunn, there's contact again. Colin Dunn looked like he just couldn't get the car slowed down enough. So tags the back of Alice Hughes, widening the gap for himself to Alice. Trev Hummer up in P4. As well, we can see. Finley Swarbrick in P6, McRae Williams in P5. And McRae Williams goes wide, which gives Finley Swarbrick the opportunity to go up the inside. Beautiful move. In the background as well, one of the Falcon Racing cars, I think that was Matt Webb. Yes, it was, going past Byron Zimmerman. Colin Dunn still chasing down the back of Alice Hughes. Bit of a lock up there from Hughes, and then some wheel spin for good measure. We're going to make the tyre a square, make sure we get every side of it. 2.2 second gap between the two drivers. Both McGanns. From downhill. The Matt Webb on Carl Alden in the background as well. As they came into the downhill section. We've got 9 minutes 25 seconds remaining on the clock. Not at the halfway mark yet. What happens to Alice Hughes? Ping issues to Alice Hughes. It was Finley Swarbrick who's got past McRae Williams as he did last lap. He's now chasing down the back of Trev Hummer. You can see the drivers pushing everything into the final hairpins. I think the BMWs are getting a little bit of an advantage as they go through, especially on the launch being rear-wheel drive because they're quite slow corners. You know, you get that launching as you're pushing the car instead of dragging it. It was a very interesting way that my physics teacher actually taught me how to think of front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars. And they're like, imagine you've got a box. If you're front-wheel drive, you'll stand facing the box and pull it. If you're a rear-wheel drive, you'll stand behind the box and push it. If you're four-wheel drive, you'll pick the box up with two people and move it because you're smart. And I'll always remember that. That was how he actually taught me front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars. Here we go, Finley Swarbrick on the back of the BMW, Trev Hummer, who goes across the track pretty quickly to get the line into the chicane. Finley Swarbrick has been jumping on opportunities with people going wider in the chicane. No avail this time. Matt Webb on the back of Carl Alden. Is he going to go for a late move? He is into the second to last chicane. Gets it down the inside. Covers it off as well. What a move on Carl Alden. Andrew Whitehead making the opportunity on Mortimer. But it's Ericsson chasing down Byron Zimmerman. The blue number 13 car of Ericsson on the back of the white and black number 48 car of Zimmerman. We head back up the grid because JP McKinley has got the gap down below a second to his teammate Kiki Mack. Keep in mind this fight is for the championship. Kiki Mack currently leading with 1 point difference ahead of his teammate JP McKinley. We will be getting live championship updates as well from the organisers of the series after each race. The gap is now 0.8 to the drivers. You can see, third, fourth and fifth. Chris Callahan, Trev Hummer and Finley Swarbrick behind on that semi-helicopter camera. Oh, my apologies. 5 minutes remaining now. 10 minutes have gone. 5 minutes remaining. JP McKinley lost some positions at the start, but has quite quickly gained them back, and then has pretty quickly caught up to the back of his teammate. The fight, I think, will be on for these two drivers. They practice together, but according to Kiki Mack in the briefing, we believe they're running different setups to each other as well. Apparently, I think Kiki was running tight and McKinley was running loose, so we'll see how that works during the races today. The reverse grid race, always a good one for us to watch. Maybe not so good tonight for the two Celtic Bromance drivers, as Kiki Mack seems to lock. JP McKinley can't make the opportunity yet. Chris Callahan has drove a pretty good race actually. P3 for the majority of it. Trev Hummett is behind by a second. JP McKinley apparently a minute and 26 seconds behind his teammate. As they head into the downhill section. Under where a bridge should be, but there isn't on this track, and I'm not sure why. Did they remove the bridge? Because it's just a billboard, really. 0.3 second gap between the two drivers. 3 minutes remaining. Probably 1 or 2, maybe 3 more laps if we're lucky, but I think it's going to be more like 2. 2 laps after this one, I believe. Yeah, looks like it will be. Maybe 3 if we're very lucky, but I'm not 100% sure. As both drivers take their own little excursions off the track. No penalties for either of them. They're driving hard within the track limits. Clearly for the championship fight, which means that they don't want any disadvantages against each other. Both of the drivers are very matched. As JP McKinley looks down the inside of the final hairpin, there is a little bit of rubbing as they get out onto the straight. McKinley doesn't get through just yet as Kiki Mack switches to the left-hand side of the track. Got removed. What? Why? Had a cool little plane on it and everything. As JP McKinley too wide as they go downhill now. Be very careful that there's no desync between the two drivers. JP McKinley goes up the inside, giving him the lead so far. That's going to be good for JP McKinley. Here as we run down to the final chicane. Do one more lap after this. 0.6 second gap between the two Celtic Bromance drivers. There could still be a chance for Kiki Mack, who did have... I think it was Kiki Mack that was saying to me a little while ago that he did think JP was faster. However, this should move JP McKinley into the lead of the championship. There is a penalty for JP McKinley, 2-second penalty, which means he needs to get a 2-second gap between himself and his teammate. I'm not sure where that track limits infraction came from. This will be the final lap. Looks like it's going to be the first win for Kiki Mack. Here, JP McKinley having a 2-second time penalty. That's the wrong driver to switch to right now. Trev Hummer running a very, very good race as well. P4 for him. Chris Callahan, not really sure. I haven't seen much eventful in his race, which isn't a bad thing really. If nothing eventful happens, then there's not really much that can blow up in your face. Around up to the final hairpin for the last time. Across the line comes JP McKinley on track. However, with a 2-second time penalty, that means that Kiki Mack moves up to first place. Chris Callahan going through afterwards. A group of cars now of Finley Swarbrick, McRae Williams, and Colin Dunn. Finley Swarbrick gets moved down to 7th. McRae Williams and Dunn move up to 4th and 5th respectively. Matt Webb comes through and so does Carl Alden. As we're now riding on board with Zimmerman. Oh, those tyres are being very unhappy. Across the line comes Byron Zimmerman. Andrew Whitehead hasn't had an amazing race today. Had some collisions, lap 1, lap 2 into the last chicane, so let's see if he can do better in the next race. He is 4th in the championship. As Mortimer comes along to round off the grid in 14th. So, the classification after that race. Kiki Mack came through for the victory. JP McKinley P2. Chris Callahan in 3rd. Trev Hummer in 4th. 5th was Colin Dunn. 6th, McRae Williams. 7th, Finley Swarbrick. 8th, Matt Webb. 9th, Carl Alden. 10th, Zimmerman. 11th, Andrew Whitehead. 12th, Tobias Eriksson. 13th, Kev Straw. And 14th, Mortimer. So we'll wait to see if the top 3 want to come and have a chat with me. Ow, I just punched my phone. That hurt. I need that bit. Oh, and here's Kiki. And here's JP. Are we going to get Chris Callahan or no? Oh, and we get Chris as well. Okay, Chris, seeing as I have literally nothing to ask you, how did your race go?
Went all right. Been aiming to get in the 135s all practice, which I sort of managed last night in practice, and I managed again in the race. But shout out to Trev, who just put me under intense pressure the whole race. I've not really raced with him at all this season. A bit nervous, didn't know how it would go, but now it's like 0.7 for 12 minutes. We both got a penalty each. Mine was harsher, but I managed to just get across on the line. I split the Celtic boys into turn 1, and I think JP just got me. I couldn't match their pace, and they just drove off to the distance. So fairly happy, survived. Another podium and more points.
Exactly, solidifying your place P3 in the championship. Which do you reckon you're going to hold that for tonight?
I hope so. I'd have to have an absolute disaster now, I think. But yeah, it's looking like 3rd.
Let's hope not. Thanks, Chris. So, JP, you were split up at the start, got past Kiki, but then you got a penalty.
Yeah. I had a really, really bad start. And I saw Kiki slowly pulling away off the start line, and I was like, "Yeah, here we go." And then I saw Chris come up me on side, and I was like, "Oh no!" And then I saw McRae looking as well, so I had to pull to the right to try and block him off. But yeah, eventually managed to get my way past Chris. But Kiki had a huge gap to me then, but I managed to catch up to him, and then just as I was getting like close to him to about a half a second, it was just marginal, like it was so small of a cut, and it pinged me for 2 seconds. And then Kiki and I think I got past Kiki, and then he knew to just sit behind me because there's no point trying to pass me because he would have got the win. But it was great racing. That was a great race. I really enjoyed that.
Well, 2 more races left, JP. Not sure how much you'll be behind Kiki now. Do you think you can still challenge him for the championship tonight?
Hey, who knows what's going to happen in the next 2 races? Kiki knows that I never give up. If that race proves it, I'm pretty.
And Kiki sort of drove away in first, sort of cleared, and you had JP up your back.
Yeah, JP was definitely faster than me, especially in sector 2. But I saw him battling with Chris early on. I had an amazing start, to be fair, to get away from it all. Chris held him up for a while, and then I just didn't want to get any penalties because this track is terrible for getting penalties on. So it was basically damage control then to not get any penalties and hope that JP did. And I saw him in mirror through the chicane. I was like, that's a bit of a cut there, JP. And then it popped up 2 seconds. I was like, okay, just follow him home now. Like, I'm not going to battle for this position because if I battle and get a penalty myself, it's all for nothing. So I just followed him home from there.
And the random grid race, always one that gives me entertaining driving. How is it for the drivers? Because sometimes it could be out the front, sometimes it could be out the back, sometimes it could be in the death zone, or as it's known, mid-pack.
Yeah, I've been lucky this whole season, to be fair. I'm pretty sure I've been top 10 for most of them. Only last Brands Hatch I was 15th or something, so I've been pretty lucky with them. It's going to be, we usually enter the lobby as soon as you see your grid position, you're like, this is over, or this is going to be a good race. So hopefully, I'm hoping that at least if me and JP are close to each other, wherever we are in the pack, it's going to be a good fun. But I'm not looking forward to it if one of us gets pole and the other's down in 15th or so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. We'll see how it all goes in race 2, the random grid race.
All right.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Oh, my chair just made a very unhappy sound. So that was the top 3: Kiki Mack, JP McKinley, and Chris Callahan. I was looking at his name, and my mind was just like, no. Because I've got a 16 driver grid, someone else has joined in. Wonder who? Ooh. I actually can't figure it out. No idea. Helpful, isn't it? We're going to wait for race 2 to get underway. Not sure how long of a break we're getting. There isn't really a whole lot that I can fill the air with. Ooh. I'll just use the slot back into the server as well. We're going to quickly switch information so I can down my body weight in carbonated beverage. So we'll be having an intermission for another 5-ish minutes, apparently, while the championship standings are worked out. I've just accidentally opened Opera. That helps. I always like the random grid races from a commentator's point of view. They always give some very interesting racing. Obviously, drivers are maybe not where they should be after quali. You know, front of the pack drivers at the rear. Sometimes rear drivers up the front, mid-pack drivers scattered throughout the place. It makes for a very unique looking challenge, really. As JP McKinley, for an update on championship standings, JP McKinley is leading Kiki Mac by 3 points as we head into race 2. 3-point gap up at the lead now, and the lead has changed from Kiki Mac to JP McKinley. Well, we should hopefully be heading to track soon. Race 2. Random grid race. Well, just. That's the screen I'm looking for. Key phone for being very. I can sense the excitement on my stream getting into race 2. Sense the excitement in the lobby. I can sense the excitement across the entire planet. I'm just dealing with a lot of messages in the background. I mean, a lot. This the upside is I do get messaged in the downtime. We get messaged in the middle of the race, which I mean, they wouldn't respond. Basically. Go. Oh, as we are now going down 2 tracks, I can switch back over to my live scene. The Ocon interview. We don't have Ocon! As we are loading, Project Cars 2 seem to have a very fun time loading. As we are now down on track, Colin Dunn taking pole with Matt Webb alongside, Alex Hughes 3rd, Chris Callahan 4th, Mortimer 5th, Finley Swarbrick 6th, Hummer 7th, McKinley 8th, Kev Straw 9th, Craig Williams 10th, Keegan Mack 11th, Andrew Whitehead 12th, Tobias Eriksson 13th, Zimmerman 14th, and Carl Alden 15th. As we should be sinking in a moment. There we are. Two, one, and we're away. Good start again from Trev Hummer in the BMW. Absolutely jumped. I think both Alice Hughes and Morton were off the start. Two Celtic Romance cars already side by side. As JP McKinley gets downhill quicker, but goes wide, opens himself back up to his teammate. This is the battle for the championship lead. They're now running down towards the last chicane. 2 by 2. Matt Webb has a look. The bollards go absolutely flying. Whoever's putting them back isn't being paid enough to do that job. 2 Celtic Bromance cars behind. JP McKinley defending the inside from Kiki Mack. Those are still all really bunched up. At a minute, Kiki Mack getting the back of that car very loose. If I'm looking on Colin Dunn, not quite as yet, gets a bit of a drift. I think that's Matt Webb that goes off of the circuit, or it might have just been some ping. I think it was some ping. Trevor Hummer getting the rear out in, that BMW becoming a drift machine. Someone goes round, that was Matt Webb. No, holds it, but opens himself up to the Celtic Bromance car of JP McKinley and Kiki Mack, who both slot past. Finley Swarbrick has a penalty of 2 seconds. Colin Dunn has a penalty of a second already. That chicane taking a lot of casualties. Kiki Mack is being opened up to Matt Webb behind. With Hummer there, moving forward a long way to allow the Celtic Bromance cars through. Here we go, running back into the downhill. Chris Callahan in the lead with Alice Hughes in second. Colin Dunn third with JP McKinley and Kiki Mack 5th and 6th with Finley Swarbrick in 4th. Ray Williams is now chasing down the rear of Matt Webb. As the Celtic Bromance cars are now coming up to the back of Finley Swarbrick. Keeping that, gonna have a look. Turns in a bit earlier to try and get the inside. He does. They make contact. Round goes JP McKinley. Round he goes. Kiki Mack slows down to allow his teammate to recuperate. 9 minutes 50 seconds remaining. A collision between the 2 Celtic Bromance cars. It looks like JP McKinley came off worse there. Well, so they're still chasing each other down. Matt Webb having a time penalty as well of 2 seconds. Finley Swarbrick having a penalty of 3 seconds. No, I don't want to quit the session. And Colin Dunn having a time penalty of a second. Alice Hughes and Chris Callahan, no penalties to speak of. Stop it! Down the grid as well, Trev Hummer has a 1 second penalty. JP McKinley and Kiki Mack do not. Matt Webb and Mortimer both have a 2 second penalty as well. Colin Dunn now looking on Alice Hughes. Run down the straight. Finley Swarbrick is also looking at Colin Dunn. You're going to be able to try at the inside. No, Colin Dunn places the car in the middle of the road to defend. Switch back to the championship battle. Kiki Mack on JP McKinley. 8 minutes remaining. I think someone else pings off. No, that was Mortimer actually flying off as he decides to send one of the signs into a low Earth orbit. Oh, as you see Kiki Mack getting quite loose. JP McKinley's gone round. There's ping. There is ping for Colin Dunn. I think Andrew Whitehead got ahead of Kiki Mack. This has been shaping up to be one hell of a random grid race. We do get them. They do not disappoint. Kiki Mack looking up the inside of Andrew Whitehead. He's there. Letting Andrew Whitehead take a long way around, getting past. He has to catch up to his teammate. Might be one of the first times in the season so far we've not had an interview from the Celtic Romance drivers. What a race this has been shaping up to be. Here is Finley Swarbrick chasing Alice Hughes there. The purple, blue, multicoloured Merino McGann of some indiscriminate hue of blue and black. Ahead of Finley Swarbrick, you can see Chris Callahan ahead as well as we come across the 6-minute mark. Over halfway through the race. Look down the grid, we have Mortimer on the back of Carl Alden. Across the line, Trev Hummer already looking down the inside of Tobias Eriksson, slots back. Is quite compressed. Tobias Eriksson goes off. Is that going to give Trev Hummer the opportunity? Yes, no, maybe, yes it is. Trev Hummer moves up to P11. Finley Swarbrick Still chasing down the back of Alice Hughes. Swarbrick still chasing down the rear of Alice Hughes. JP McKinley has had issues. There is a lot of damage to that car. Weight reduction? I'm not sure. That is not something JP McKinley is going to have wanted. I'm not sure what happened there as he stays out, doesn't pit. I think JP McKinley is going to pull off to the side maybe and retire from the race. There seems to be a lot of damage to that car. This could be the championship fight neutralised. JP McKinley was 3 points ahead. Of Kiki Mack. Very interesting now to see how the points are going to be as JP McKinley has dropped down the order. Not sure what happened, we didn't catch it. As Finley Swarbrick is looking on the back of Alice Hughes. We have Hummer chasing down Carl Alden for P8. Here's we've got just under 2 minutes remaining in today's race. Race 2, in which there will then be another 15-minute qualifying, so I'll just let it run so I can go for a break. Because having a break is quite a useful thing. Especially for my voice. Trev Hummer and Carl Alden duking it out. My phone is letting me know that one file is now available offline. A very helpful update there from Google Drive. Kiki Mack on the back of Andrew Whitehead. There'll be one more lap after this. So onto the final lap comes Chris Callahan, Kiki Mack and Matt Webb coming soon after. As Kiki Mack sets the fastest lap, has JP McKinley is still soldiering on in that very broken Megane. Mortimer behind, he currently has a 3-second time penalty. Alice Hughes with a 5-second time penalty. That will move him down to P3, I believe. As on to the long straight. Chris Callahan currently in the lead of this race. Hummer still looking on Carl Alden, but we're running out of time. Round the final corner comes Chris Callahan. And across the line he comes to take the win of race 2. As Hughes coming across in second, but drops down to third, which gives Finley Swarbrick P2. McRae Williams coming across the line P4. Willie stay there as Kiki Mack follows P5 with Matt Webb P6. Andrew Whitehead will be the next to come across the line. Andrew Whitehead comes along. Cole Alden comes along in P7 with Trev Hummer, P8, sorry, with Trev Hummer in P9. They stay in the positions. Buzz Erickson comes through 10th with Zimmerman in 11th. Kev Straw coming across the line in 12th. Moves up to P11. JP McKinley will be coming around the corner in that very beaten up Celtic Bromance car. So, after race 2, the random grid race, the classification is as follows. Taking the win was Chris Callahan, followed by Finley Swarbrick, Alice Hughes, McRae Williams, Kiki Mack, Matt Webb, Andrew Whitehead, Carl Alden, Trev Hummer, Tobias Eriksson, Kev Straw, Byron Zimmerman, JP McKinley, and Mortimer. That is the classification for race 2. So we'll see if the top 3 want to come and have a chat with me. I'm pretty sure Chris Callahan will. So I should hopefully get at least one. Oh, my back. Oh, as yet we get Chris Callahan and Finley Swarbrick. So, Chris, you won.
Ah, finally. Yeah, they were quite aggressive off the start. I was P4 and I just wanted P1 out of turn 1 and got it. Colin disconnected, which was a massive shame. And I just had to keep going. I could see others around me racking up penalties. I did as well, which I was like, okay, come on, settle. I just didn't want to lose another potential race win to a stupid penalty, but it's stuck. It's gone through. So over the moon.
A good win as well, and JP McKinley having issues dropped down from a battle with his teammate all the way to second to last. Is that going to help you in the championship?
Possibly. I'd need that to happen again. I don't want it to, but I think I'd need that to happen again to catch up. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Race 3 now.
Yeah, we've got, I think, a qualifying and then onto race 3, I believe. So is it just going to be a case of push, start as hard as you can and try and run away with it?
Yeah, I had a bit of a scrappy Q1. I qualified 3rd, which is fine, but I felt I could have gone quicker. But we'll see. I'll see how it goes. Try and be a bit more aggressive like that in race 3 because it paid off.
Awesome, mate, Chris. Finley, hello, you're back. How did your race go on?
Yeah, it's pretty good to be fair. I was at a point I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to go for Alice here. But then she ended up picking up a 3-second penalty, I think, and I only had 2 seconds. I was like, right, cool, race management. Let's just stay a second behind her. It'd be nice and easy. And I don't know what happened. I think she ran wide again at the old hairpin or something. It became 5 seconds. Lovely, much easier life for me. All I've got to do is just stay on track and stay within 2 seconds of her. Job's done. I'll be in second place. Massive shout out to Chris. You worked bloody hard for that all season. You finally got a win. So good job on that one, buddy. And a quick shout out to my friend Meek, who I know is watching.
Hi, Meek. So, race 3, what are you hoping to get out of it?
Oh, crikey. A win would be nice. I don't think it's on the cards. I mean, it depends on how JP and Kiki get on, really. I think we've all got the pace to win. I think in the first race, we were all maybe within sort of 100th of each other, sort of race pace-wise. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We'll see how race 3 comes along. Hopefully, you'll be back.
Hopefully so.
Yeah, I hope
Cheers,
so.
Husky.
Cheers, thank you.
So that was P2 and P1 and P2. Chris Callahan and Finley Swarbrick. Very good race from the two drivers. As we're going to move on to the final 15-minute qualifying session, hopefully soon. Hi, mate. P2 for Finley Swarbrick. Very good race from him. Managed to keep up with Alex Hughes and due to penalties take second place, which is always a good thing. And I just want to quickly add a quite big thank you message here to just say that we're one follower away from 150, which obviously targets. I need to set them because apparently so. Thank you for everyone who has followed, follows for the racing and the commentaries that I put on. It's awesome to see that people are interested in it. It was Adam Bent joins in the session. He's in here today? I think so. So, as we're moving into qualifying, I'm going to mute my microphone, give my voice a bit of a rest. 15-minute qualifying, and then on to the final 15-minute race for the evening. Final 15-minute race of the championship. Would be all to play for here as JP McKinley and Kiki Mack fighting head-to-head to see who will walk away the champion of the VRCC Vtcc Championship for this season. just an update, as I've been just told. JP McKinley has to win, take the fastest lap score, with Kiki Mack finishing 5th or lower to take the title. Any other combination, and Kiki wins. A very, very pressure-filled race for JP McKinley. Guess who just realised that his mic wasn't on and he had just been commentating to start the race? That's right, it's me. So, here we are, 12 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Hey. I forgot my mic was muted. I am actually an idiot. What do you want wrong with that? I'm actually an idiot. Went downstairs, had to help. Maybe I'm get something from the car. And then came back up, saw the race design and went, oh, I'm gonna come in there. No. So, here we are. I haven't actually got my glasses on, so I can't read. That's better. As up the front, Kiki Mack already getting a penalty of 3 seconds. JP McKinley not having a penalty at this current moment in time. Finley Swarbrick on the back of Alice Hughes. Yeah, as we see, Finley Swarbrick under attack from Colin Dunn. Alice Hughes in the front of that image as well. As we look further down the grid and see Tobias Eriksson sort of between two cars of Carl Alden and Matt Webb. Look further down, McRae Williams chasing down the back of Chris Callahan. As there seems to be a very broken Chris Callahan there. I'm sorry, McRae Williams ahead of Chris Callahan with Mortimer ahead of him. Further up the grid, we see Finley Swarbrick. Well then, grid Tobias Eriksson about to be under pressure from Carl Alden. Number 13 car on the number 9 car. Sorry, number 9 car on the number 13 car. With a slightly broken Matt Webb up ahead as well. The bumper deciding if it doesn't want to be there or gone. Stick with this battle for a little while. Have a look at how things progress with the battle. At the end of this race, however, a very happy Kiki Mack might exist. Nathan McKinley not having a good race in race 2, which we think, well, I think anyway, if he did have a better race, he would have, you know, come away with a better chance at the title this season. But in racing, sometimes you get the cards fall just right. Sometimes the cards do not fall right whatsoever. It's just a case of making the best of it. As we look up the front, JP McKinley now within a second of Kiki Mack. We've been in this situation before. The lights are on because it is quite dark. Only a minute 54 seconds separate, minus a minute 54 seconds, sorry. Oh, hey. Mack on the back of JP McKinley. Carl Alden still chasing down the rear of Tobias Harris. So McRae Williams has joined in as well. Four-car battle. We'll see how it starts to go. I don't know what that's meant to be, but it's clearly a thing. There we go. Thank you, PC2. A camera that I can use would be lovely. No, I accidentally forgot to unmute my mic because I'm a bit of an idiot, you see. And oh, we've got some movement going now. Matt Webb has gone into the pit. Matt Webb has pitted. And Carl Alden the lead of the pack. Up ahead. Also the battle for P1 between JP McKinley and Kiki Mack. As it stands, Kiki Mack will be running away with the championship this season. Two Celtic Romance drivers having driven very commanding races all throughout the season. A few issues here and there. Unsure of how they're stacking up in the team's championship, but last I checked they were in second place behind a 3-car team that I think is a pro team. Could be wrong. Here is JP McKinley, looks down the inside. Is he going to make it stick? He is. Oh, bit of blocking there against his teammate. Gets a bit nudged up the back. No visible damage on either of the cars, so that's an upside. Very big upside, actually. Kiki Mack now needs to drop down 3 places, and JP McKinley needs to get the fastest lap. As we see the two Celtic Romance cars come down the hill, we're going to switch back to Finley Swarbrick, who's chasing down the back of Alice Hughes. And behind as well, Colin Dunn is chasing down the back of Finley Swarbrick. Kiki Mack is still on the tail of JP McKinley as they come through the final chicane. 4 minutes, 14 seconds remaining on the clock. For about 4 or 5 more laps here. Typically putting in 10 laps, and we're currently coming up to start lap 8, so maybe 2 more laps, maybe 3 more laps if we're lucky. As the gap behind Kiki Mack seems to be minus 1 minute and 57 seconds. Got a 6-second gap between himself and Finley Swarbrick, who's made the move on Alice Hughes. Not sure what happened there. Alice Hughes has dropped down 2 positions. So we've got 13 cars remaining on the grid. Oh. As Alice Hughes is looking on the back of Colin Dunn. Could there possibly be a move into the final chicane? Not yet, she stays behind. But gets a bit of an overlap as they run down to the second to last corner. Alice on the inside, Colin Dunn having to drop back, maybe trying to get the cut back. It looks like there's contact, but it could be some latency. My voice is starting to break. We've got a minute and 40 seconds left, so there'll be this lap and then the next lap of this race. Kiki Mack very close to Finley Swarbrick here as we come up to turn 5. And JP McKinley stays just ahead, but I don't know is he going to hang on. Hello, Tomato. Here we go, running back down straight onto Celtic Bromance cars. I have one more lap after this. Kiki Mack looks on the outside but dips back in. Maybe a bit too far behind his teammate to try and move there. Maybe into one of the two hairpins if he gets a better launch. Looking down the inside, ducks back to the outside. His teammate is defending quite strongly. Maybe trying to get the cut back or just a bit of acceleration. They're still very close together. So now come round the last corner for the final lap to begin. This will be it, the last lap. Kiki Mack, as things stand, will currently take the title this season, sorry. Been one hell of a final race in the random grid race, bringing the drama that we expect from all the drivers being shuffled around. Some of the faster drivers ending up at the back of the grid, with some of the mid-pack drivers up at the front as well, which always makes things interesting. As we come up onto the rear straight now. Over we go, two Celtic Bromance cars flashing as if to say we know you're here. They come through the final chicane. JP McKinley, still no penalty. Kiki Mack has got one, but is it enough to open him up to Finley Swarbrick? No, it's not. Only a 3-second penalty here as I come around the second to last corner. Could Kiki try and move just to finish ahead on track, or is he just going to sit behind and let JP McKinley take the victory? They come around the final corner. They're side by side, and across the line comes JP McKinley with his teammate following quite quickly behind. And see in the background Finley Swarbrick, Alice Hughes and Colin Dunn coming along the line as well. With the pack of Carl Alden, Kev Straw, McRae Williams and Tobias Eriksson still a corner or two away. With 11 laps, we'll see if the two Celtic Bromance cars and Finley Swarbrick want to join me. In the chat as we watch the final cars come across the line now. And Trev Hummer down in P10. Going up to the final corner, and Chris Callahan maybe had a collision. Seems to be a lot of parts missing off of that car. And Matt Webb will come around to round off the grid as we do get many drivers in here. So Kiki, we'll start with you. I think that's the title, mate.
Yeah, it had to be the last race. JP needed fastest lap and first, and I needed to finish 6th or lower, so he had a lot to do in that last race. don't like it being decided by netcode, but at the same time, it was 22 rounds or 22 races, so one race doesn't make a season.
Exactly, 22 races you've come across. How was your race? I saw towards the end you're putting a lot of pressure on JP.
Yeah, that was just me having a bit of fun, to be honest. Just seeing what he would do under a bit of pressure. I had a 3-second penalty, he had nothing, so I just thought I'd show a few moves on him and just see what he would do. But yeah, it's a good win by JP and a good fun race to end the season off.
And the next season, when Touring Cars comes back around, sadly I won't be here commentating, but are you going to be pushing JP as hard as you were this season?
Of course, every league we're in now, we're neck and neck for everything we do. So I think we'll definitely be back, and we'll see about Pro or Pro-Am as classes. And yeah, that'll be looking forward to next time.
Well, congrats on the title, mate. JP, you did win that race, but was race 2 sort of the downfall of your title challenge for this season?
Yeah, unfortunately, these things happen in racing. But I want to be the first to congratulate Kiki. It's been hell of a season. Really enjoyed it. It was a great race. I like that last race as well. He's put me under pressure trying to see what I would do, and I was like, because I knew he had the 3 seconds, and I was like, oh, don't try anything. I was like,
And,
but yeah, hell of a season. It was great fun.
Next season, do you reckon you're going to push Kiki hard again and see if you can beat him next time out?
I'm coming for him next season. I'm going to be even more aggressive next season. I'll be all over him.
And, Alice has dropped out of the voice channel, so as I have to run very quickly, I'm going to say congratulations to Kiki. I'm not sure where you guys are in the Teams Championship. I remember you were in second when I checked this morning.
I think we've got it after our race 2.
Yeah.
Finish now is further down, so there's no chance as long as they had some consistent racing in Tier 1. So I think we're second in the teams.
Yeah, that's not a bad season. I'm happy with that there. 2 seconds.
Maybe a move up to Pro next season for both of you.
It's very daunting, but it's a possibility. They were calling for it halfway through the season, but we weren't too sure about it.
Next season, new start, move up. Then you've got the entire season to sort of work then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in practice sessions. We've been probably about 7th, 8th sort of position in comparison to the pros at the moment. So I can be in there next season and battling it out for the scraps, as they were.
And that is where I'm going to call the stream for tonight. So from me, all the people at VRCC, JP McKinley and Kiki Mack, I will see everyone on the next thing that I commentate. Goodbye.